So I lost 180 pounds on the Atkins diet. It's what I'm most famous for, kind of launched me into the community. People have that initial weight loss, that initial thing that got them to where they are now, talking about whatever they're talking about. Who's to say you're supposed to stay at that weight? Who's to say that as you get older, things don't develop that maybe were already developing when you were losing the weight, before you were losing the weight, we're already in development. And then suddenly you lose weight, but then these other things start to manifest. See, we have this mistaken notion that when you eat low carb, keto, carnivore, real food, whatever, when you eat that way, just magically all of these predispositions just go away. And I think that is such a flaw in the thinking of the community that I'm glad we're talking about this openly today, and you're the perfect person to do this with, because you have that heart for people too.
Oh, yeah, very much so. I was always that person that I physically felt other people's emotions, and it would hurt me even as a little bitty tiny kid, this little short thing, because you know how short I am. You know I'm short. And I would be the one that would stand up for the kids who got picked on, because it physically hurt me. And so, yes, to see that happen. And like I said, when I saw that happen to you, I was like, oh, and this little 5'2" thing was ready to go to war. It was like, no, you're not messing with my friends or my family, because this is just not okay. Yeah, it's disgusting to me. And I just don't understand people like that. And I never will. I mean, I've tried. I can't. I mean, I understand it's their issue, not ours. But, it just blows me away.
Yes.
So.
Karen said, I also have the same issue, but judging from all my friends on medication and dying, I'm good. And is in my heart. Yeah, that's true. Like, I tell people, I'm like, all right, the people that judge me, okay, maybe they still eat a lot of junk themselves. Maybe they have some disease. I have no chronic diseases other than fat on the body, obesity. I don't have any chronic diseases. I'm not on any medications. I don't really even take a lot of supplements. I live healthy. And the thing that I love the most about my health journey, Amber, is not so much the weight loss that I experienced. It's this.
Oh, yeah.
I have calmness in my mind. I have such mental acuity, able to like have conversations and intellectual ones, think deeply, creative out the hilt. I'm always creating new content all the time. And to me, you can't trade that for nothing.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the realm of kind of being famous in the diet world, I feel like people think you're supposed to be this, you've got it all figured out. I get that a lot of, okay, well, you've been at this a while, you figured it out. I'm like, no, I'm figuring it out. I have some knowledge, and I have the ability to think things through, and I have access to, thankfully, all these experts I've interviewed over the years, but I ain't got it figured out. If I had it figured out, number one, you'll never have it figured out. Let's just put that out there. Even the smartest person in the diet world, they still don't have it figured out. And so, for some reason, there is a very loud truck outside my
I can hear it.
Very loud. I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, they haven't gotten it figured out either. They're making too much noise about live. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, because the thing is, what people don't get is that as your situation changes, as you change, your body changes. It changes, and it can depend on so many factors. And hello, menopause, okay? And that's probably part of my issue. Probably getting right in the, I'm 55, so hello, it's getting kind of to that point. But your body changes, and you cannot keep doing the same exact thing for your entire life. It doesn't work, because you evolve, and you have to evolve as you evolve. People don't really understand that, because you think if you have the perfect formula, that's it. No.
This is what the folly of it only being about weight loss is, because the thing that helped you lose weight at 25 is not the same one that's going to help you lose weight at 40. It's not going to be the one that helps you lose weight at 55. They can't
Yep.
be all the same diet. You're going to have at least some tweaks to the energy content, to the macronutrient makeup. Maybe when you're younger and you're more insulin sensitive, you can get away with more carbohydrate. But as you get to menopause, postmenopause, and beyond, you need to be more low carb. Like there's so many little nuances like that that if you're not shifting with it, you run into problems and you go, oh no, it worked 20 years ago. Well, yeah, the 20-year ago version of yourself, it worked for that person, but not for the person you are now.
That is exactly right. And I deal so much with this with my clients. And, and as we go back to the whole mindset thing too, it's not the food. To me, that is the easy part.
Yeah.
Easy. The other part is what's hard. It's the mental aspect and all of that. That's what we have to deal with. And, learning your body, learning when something isn't working anymore, understanding that your body is changing. And see, I think that was a difference with me right now. When I look in the mirror, I'm not like going, ooh, dang girl, you the bomb. No, because I'm not happy that I did put on some weight after working so hard. That upsets me, yes. But I now, instead of going, you fat pig, in the mirror, and yes, I've done that, I now go, okay, you know what? Something's going on. Something is changing. Now I need to figure it out again. It's okay. My body is doing what it needs to do right now. It's this amazing biological machine, and I need to figure out what I can do to help it. And, it's not its fault. I used to blame my body, and now I don't do that anymore. And, I recognize it's not where I want to be. Okay. But
can I tell you that I think sometimes when people run into the issue where you are in your journey, where I am in my journey, there is this sense of desperation. Well, I need to do the most extreme thing I could possibly think of. Let me fast for 100 days. Let me just eat 500 calories. You do all these like really weird mind games with yourself.
Yep.
Because the desperation to not be where you are right now anymore is so strong, and especially when you are known in the diet world. And
Yeah.
I've had that pressure on for a very long time. And it wasn't until I got comfortable with where I am at this very moment, wherever that is, at this very moment, where I am, I'm comfortable there with the knowledge that I can be doing things to work on myself. Then it takes the desperation part away. And like this 100-day thing I'm about to start on September the 1st, it's all going to be on Jimmy's timing, Jimmy things I want to do that I think if I do them and do them all consistently, I should see results. And so I'm not doing it out of desperation. I'm doing it out of, okay, I have a knowledge base. I've analyzed this a little bit. I've reached that point where I know I need to get this under control. I'm about to turn 50 this year. So a lot of things went into it, but desperation was not one of them.
Yeah, I agree. And that's where I'm at now too. I have a calmness. It's like, okay, you know what? This is a journey. This is a lifelong thing we're talking about. This is not I have to lose 50 pounds by, January 1st because I have a wedding to go to or be in. It's not about that anymore. It's my time. It's what I need to do. I need to take steps to figure out what's going on with me. And, I've got it narrowed down pretty well now. And now just to figure out, how to really deal with that more effectively. And I'm looking at it completely different. I'm looking at it, how can I help my body? I guess in a way I still think of my body as separate than this, which I've always done, but it's always been from a hate standpoint, where now it's more like, how can I work with you? Because I know you're trying to do your best. What can I help you with, mentally?
So Amber, I think a lot of the mindset that you and I are articulating is partly a product of our age. Once you get over kind of 40, 45, you really don't give a bleep anymore about a lot of things
you're
used to. And so how do you help some of your younger clients that you work with kind of deal with those mind games that come naturally? How do you kind of reassure them that, okay, maybe you don't need to worry about it as much?
Yeah, that is my focus really, is working with the mindset, reframing how you look at things, reframing how you look at yourself, and trying to fix the relationship with yourself as well as a relationship with food, eventually, because, it always goes back to food, but there's so much more to it. And so, we just kind of break it down and say, okay, well, what is the issue here? Let's look at this. And okay, how about instead of thinking this way, maybe try, talking to yourself this way. And I think a lot of the issues we have is because we talk so incredibly negative
Yeah.
to our own selves. And we
Yeah.
would never do that to another person. Okay, most of us wouldn't. There are a few. But, if you hear something enough, it becomes the truth. We know that very well right now, don't we? But yeah, if you keep telling yourself like I did in the mirror, oh my God, you're a fat pig. Holy crap, you look bad. And then guess what? I believed that.
You know what? I had my friends start calling me out on that stuff. My best friend, Brittany, if I go negative at all in a conversation, say,
It's hard not to fall back into that pattern,
it really
because that's
is.
kind of a human thing. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
learned or biological or what. I don't
Well,
know. But
and I'll tell you, some of mine it was reinforced when I was a kid and I was going
mm,
through my trauma, getting beat and berated and everything. And so that's hardwired into my brain. And so that's a
mhm.
lot of this beating ourselves up. We were hardwired not to love ourselves,
Oh yeah.
not to want to think in a positive manner. We go to the negative because that's how we learned.
Yeah, I remember, like my issue started when I was like 10, and I started to develop, and I've said this many times, but that was humiliating for me because it was like fat, like, because, well, it is fat, but you know what I mean? And the other girls were bored thin and flat chested. And so they bullied me. The girls did. They bullied me.
And you got
And
the boys, and they were jealous of you for that.
probably, and it was just awful. And so I had this preconceived notion that there was something wrong with my body. And so, I did everything I could because apparently it was because I'm fat, which I was not. And so, that's why I was a full bulimic and anorexic at the age of 15,
Yes.
because that kept playing in my head. And, then it didn't help, reinforcement from your family. And it was not meant really ugly, really. It was, like, ooh, do you think you really need that second helping? Ooh, should you be eating that? Or, ooh, just, uh, and like I was called a tank. And when
Yeah.
I look at pictures of myself back then, I'm like, what the hell? I mean, you know.
But look how powerful those images
Uh-huh.
were. I remember Brittany on our One Step Deeper podcast recently. She told a story about when she was 8, and she was at this luncheon thing with all of her family, and her cousins were all in a room together with her. And so they said, "Hey, Brittany, go get a bunch of desserts. Bring them in here, and we'll share them." So Brittany goes and piles up this plate full of desserts. And as she starts to walk back towards where the room was with the cousins, a family member said, "See, and that's why you're fat." 8 years old.
Ooh.
It so ruined her
Ooh.
psychologically that
Mm-mm.
to this day it still bothers her.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, it is amazing. And that's what sometimes I have to get through to my clients, is that if they've done everything and they think that, and I'll just, there's something I feel. And so I'll ask them, is it possible that there might be something in your past that has affected you, even if you may not be consciously aware of it? And I've had multiple people just all of a sudden break down crying, and I'm like, oh, there it is. Ooh. And you know what? That occasionally happens to me. Somebody will say something that triggers something in me that I thought I dealt with. And it
Yeah.
was like, whoa, where did that come from?
Yes.
So it is, you have to work on that. And it's a lifelong thing. When you've been so traumatized over something, I don't care what other people think is a trauma. If it's a trauma to you, it's a freaking trauma. And that annoys me. Oh, just get over it. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Oh,
Really? Did you live in my head? Did you? Because if you didn't, then no.